right, we're back. Chris Vernon Show, and super excited. There is a big event that's going on at Hope Presbyterian Church tonight, featuring a lot of sports teams in the area and people that are involved in athletics around Memphis. And actually there's even going to be more but two of the distinguished guests are former NFL players Pac-Man Jones and Chris Johnson. They are in studio. Thanks for coming in, guys.
Thanks for having us, man.
Jeff Trotter is in charge of the event. All right, so let's get this right at the beginning. What is going on? Can people still get tickets to this? What's the event at Hope tonight?
Yep, tickets are still available, man. Purchase your tickets now on eventbrite.com.
Okay.
It's going down at 6 o'clock at Hope Presbyterian Church, as you said. We are fighting for mental health. Memphis, Tennessee just happens to be the city right now. But I told Pat, hey, I need some help with Memphis. He said, bro, I'm coming. And I'm bringing Chris with me. I'm bringing Lindell with me. You know, they were all for fighting for mental health and advocating for it here in the city of Memphis, Tennessee. So going down tonight with the Bend Don't Break Summit, the first inaugural Bend Don't Break Summit.
Okay, so the Bend Don't Break Summit, and you're going to have speakers. Shep Shepard, tell me about him.
Shep actually used to play for the Green Bay Packers, man. He's one of the most phenomenal and prolific speakers that I've ever heard. I actually met him when I was in college, and he was coming to different teams and sharing with guys, and he became like a big brother to me. So I did him the same way I did Pat. I reached out. I said, man, I need some help with Memphis. Like, I was feeling down. It was dark. We went through young Dolph. Dolph was a buddy of mine. The Ezekiel Kelly situation, Tyree Nichols. And I'm like, we got to do something, man. We can't keep going at this rate without processing these things. So I called them, and they said they coming.
So why is this so important to you?
Because I've dealt with mental health myself. I mean, we all have family members and you know, people in our families, and you've probably dealt with it at some degree and level. We all go through life, ups, downs, ebbs and flows. But in particular, as far as it comes to Memphis, I've been working in the nonprofit space for the last 15 years of my life here in Memphis. I worked with the Memphis Athletic Ministries for 10 years of that time. And I have a lot of little homies in South Memphis, you know, and some in North Memphis too, that don't have the resources to be able to afford mental health care services. Mm-hmm. They just don't. So how could I do an event at scale where they can come around the table and glean from the wisdom that they're going to get from these players and from these therapists? So that was the heart behind the
One of the things that I've read about, and certainly when we've had guests on in the past, was now that everybody has become more open talking about things, was that there's a stigma in the African American community in terms of being able to talk about things, and that especially adolescents are scared to show their feelings or to even talk about how they're feeling if they may be down, for fear of whether they get bullied or it might actually make them feel worse.
Facts. So how foolish would it be if I'm sitting here looking at Pat right now and I'm like, Pat, bro, you bleeding. Like, the side, you have a contusion, you have an abrasion, you have a cut, you have a laceration. I'm literally looking and I see blood coming out of your side. We need to take you to the doctor. And he like, nah, I'm straight. I'm good. How foolish would that be?
And it's not only the kids either, Chris. Some of the parents. You know, I'll speak on my situation. Like, I didn't know that my mom was bipolar until I called her when I was in McLean Hospital. I was 25 or 26 years old. And like she said, like, for her answer was, "You're strong." I never thought this conversation would come up. And, like, to all the parents out there, especially the African American culture, we need to be more open in dialect with mental health with our kids. Like you said, the youth, they don't want to talk. But I think we need to give them more resources to talk. Like he said, when you're sick, you go to a doctor. We got plenty of doctors and plenty of hospitals in Memphis. You know, you want shoes, they got Foot Locker around here or any mall. When it comes to mental health, what do we have besides, like, locking ourselves in a hospital? What do we have where we can go and talk to somebody for 45 minutes without paying $200? So that's why I'm here on a drop of dime for my brother with the Bend Don't Break, because this is not only a Memphis issue or a Tennessee issue, or this is an issue around the world. Like, it's a lot of kids that come from where we come from that's dealing with a lot of trauma, a lot of emotions, a lot of stress, a lot of depression, and only way they know how to, express it is, sad to say it, but some through violence, some with obesity, and some sit in the house and blocking out life and staying on the game. So we got to figure out a way for the youth. First of all, we got to figure out a way that we can help them, and a way that they can feel open about coming to us about whatever the matter is. And I just think that, like bro said, we need more outlets. We need more facilities that can help some of these young guys.
At what point did you, come to terms with what you had been through and why it caused actions? You know what I'm saying? That you talk about the trauma or whatever you go through as a youth, and you talked about even your mom, right? At what point in life did you become comfortable talking about it even yourself?
Ooh, probably when I left McLean, I was more comfortable because I understood everything that was told to me. You look at the stigmatism like, oh, he's bipolar, he must be crazy. You know what I mean? But then once you go and you do the right things, you find the triggers, and you talk to the right people, and then with being in McLean, it's like a big, like a campus, and it's a lot of people that's going through different things. So you got to kind of leave your problems at the door,
and they don't care that you're Pac-Man Jones.
They don't care who you are,
right?
You know what I mean? And they just want to see, can you get better, or how do we figure out how you can cope with these things with the group. So that was my biggest thing, and I felt way more comfortable once I left McLean Hospital, because I knew what was wrong with me. I understood what was told, and
do you think the fame just compounded it all?
No.
Like that it's like that you've got this unrealized thing that you're going through, and now you've got the money, now you've got the fame, now you're Pac-Man, right? And so it's like, I still haven't dealt with all this stuff before, and now I've got a whole nother level of things that I'm concerned about outside of myself, right? Because with fame comes everybody out of the woodwork, and now all of a sudden you're the guy, right? You're the meal ticket for a lot of people.
Yeah, and when you and I'll just use myself as an example. I dealt with a lot of anger as far as seeing my father getting killed in front of me, and not having the right processes or the right people to talk to during that time. And then you get $18 million, and then this guy's like, hey man, come here, let me help you. I'm like, bro, I've been struggling so bad in the inside of my heart and going through everything I've been going through. And now it's like, oh, let me help you. Mm-hmm. But I've been crying out, maybe not at a national level, you know what I mean? But to the people that's been in my inner circle, like, yo, I need some kind of way to deal with these problems that I have. Right
but even with the father thing, you feel like you never processed it, you never talked it through, you never, like, although you just held it in?
Who was I gonna talk to? Like, I grew up with my grandma, me, my cousins. Like, who am I talk to? Who was my outlet?
Thus the event tonight, right?
Yeah.
Like that kind of, it wraps it.
My dad died, it was like, all right, figure out how to pay the bills, buddy.
You the head of the house. Ain't nobody to talk to.
Yeah.
And that's why you have the event tonight, right?
Yeah.
This is the exact moment,
yes.
right? Your life is this moment of, here is this horrendous thing that happens that you say caused this anger and caused you to lash out inside of you. And when I ask you, right, like, is that about feelings that never were able to come out? Who was I going to talk to?
Right.
And that's the thing, right? You got to find ways, the outlets for, not necessarily something that traumatic, but for everybody out there, right? Feeling like they can be comfortable with a place to go to talk.
So I've been fortunate enough to have a front row seat to this brother's life. Like he said, he's been crying out for a minute. I told him earlier, the first time we met, we got in a fight. And people don't think about what happened in the skeletons in the closet that makes you react behaviorally, in those ways. They just look at the result. They don't look at what you did it for, and the reasoning behind it. But he was a hothead, and he stayed in fights and stuff like that. But I knew the story. I knew about his father. I knew about his grandmother, how hard she worked and how much she put into him and nurtured him. And I knew about the coaches. We got, similar coaches and father figures, guys that stepped up, not just with one guy, but in the community to raise guys on the south side where we from. So I knew the story, and as a friend, watching these things blow up in the news and the media just because he had more money and a bigger platform, I thought it was wrong. I'm like, man, you don't know. You're not taking time to process and talk with him. You're just making assumptions about him, and it's blowing the whole thing up.
And that was the old media. So, that's the good thing about this new media thing that we got going on, CJ, because you don't get to just look at the cover no more. You got to read the whole entire book. Because I can go and explain anything that I want to explain. I've never talked about any incident that I've ever been in. Not one. Because back then we couldn't talk. It's like, hey, look, we're going to handle this.
PR department tells you.
Just be quiet. Everything's going to be swept up under the rug, boom, 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 boom. But now, shit, we got iPhones. Hey.
You can explain.
Hey, Chris, I really don't like how they treating us over here, Chris. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's viral right then and there. Right. So it's a lot different, man, than the way we came up and
Do you think it's better?
I think it's way better.
You think because?
I think it's way better because you can't control the narrative. Because
your own narrative,
I can control any narrative that I want to control, regardless of how you spin it.
Mm-hmm.
Because I have enough followers and I have enough people that's following me on my platform that will raise enough noise if I'm right.
Right.
Regardless if it's ESPN
or
whoever it is.
But in many situations, I know what it's like. They just say, don't make this worse.
But we didn't have that. Back in 2005, 6, 7, we didn't have a platform where you have 1 million people following you. We didn't have a platform where I'm athlete. We have over so many million people following that. We didn't have all of these serious radio where everything is uncut and raw and you can tell it how you want to tell it. So it's a lot different, man. Like, even you can see it to all the way the things that's happened to even with the police brutality. Yeah, they used to get away with a lot of shit. You can't get away with that shit no more.
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna be held accountable. So that's why I love the new media, man. I think it gives us a platform to let people really dive in and try to read the book.
Chris, why is this important to you? I mean, obviously, look, Pac's your guy. Yeah. You guys have stayed friends for so long, and if he calls you, you're more than willing to help out. But when you listen to him talk about this and kind of what he went through, and then you kind of know what you're getting into tonight and the message you're going to give to kids, just tell me about your experience with all this.
Man, it's real important to me because even if you talk about Tennessee, you talk about Memphis, you talk about Atlanta, you talk about Orlando. We at the end of the day, we trying to save the youth. And these days, man, kids are dying at an alarming rate. Kids are going to jail, getting life sentences at an alarming rate. So my whole thing is if we can go in and help 1 kid, 5 kids from, the graveyard, from in the penitentiary, then I feel like we did our job. Know what I'm saying? Like, if we could just help one of these kids or anything, know what I'm saying? And it just creeps me to see, like, it's like we're in a bad nightmare. Know what I'm saying? That we can't wake up from. Like, we wake up in the morning, we read the news. You got a 14-year-old just killed a 9-year-old girl. Know what I'm saying? Getting a life sentence, or it's just crazy. Know what I'm saying? So, and we may look at that like, man, these kids are crazy, they wild, this and that, but we don't know what type of mental health they're facing. They might not have a dad in their life. They don't have nobody to go talk to. Know what I'm saying? Their mom probably struggling just to, keep a roof over their head, put food on the table. They don't got nobody to talk to. So that's why it's so important to me, because this situation now, just want to save the youth.
Did you feel like you had someone to talk to?
Yeah, I grew up in, I'm the youngest of 4 brothers. You know what I'm saying? My dad was in my life, mom in my life. I had people to talk to, but at the end of the day, when you growing up in this environment, you going to face trials and tribulations. You going to face it. You know what I'm saying? So I've been through things and stuff like that. I had people to talk to, but you still have to get over those humps.
Did the fame get to you? Because obviously, look, you get to... At East Carolina, you're kind of under the radar. Then, interestingly enough, the combine's going on right now.
Right.
And everybody in the free world found out. If they didn't know about you at East Carolina, we did because we're Memphis.
Yeah.
So we knew.
Dude, I remember an afternoon
We knew.
game. I remember a afternoon game at the Liberty Bowl. I'm over there, and we're sitting. My dad's season tickets are like 8 rows behind the visitors' bench. I didn't know anything about East Carolina football. I'm like, who the F is this dude that is killing us?
Too fast. And I think it's still the record, right?
No, it ain't the record no more.
It's
but
not?
It was 4-2-4. Yeah, nah.
What's it? 1-1-5 is the record? What is it?
4-2-4.
No. What's the record now?
The record? It's 4-2-2. 4-2-2.
That's the.
Yeah.
What was the guy? The guy
John
from Washington?
John Ross. John Ross.
What a shame. Yeah. What a shame.
Yeah.
He had 2,000 yards.
Yeah.
He ain't done nothing.
It got to translate. It got to translate
I
onto the
know.
football field now.
that was a
Yeah.
Man.
No.
So that combine, everybody knew about you. And then obviously, look, at some point, you morph into Chris Johnson, that was a draft pick, to the guy that's getting 2,000 yards,
Right.
Madden, #1 fantasy pick. I mean, you're that guy, right?
Yeah.
How were you able to handle that at the time?
Man, just being around solid people, man. Like, a lot of times, like, when I used to be hanging with my brother, Pat, and a lot of the other guys, Vince Young and all the people always thought, like, I came in with those guys, but I was always the youngest. You know what I'm saying? So I used to look at how they was handling things, how they was doing things, and just always being solid. So I never really let it get to my head. But, like, a lot of things come with it. Like, when you do that type of stuff, you rush for 2,000 yards, and you come around after your second, third year, you sign for $56 million, and then, like, you could do it. You go out, you do anything. And I'm pretty sure he know, too, people trying to sue you for anything. Make up stories on you. And, once they make up stories, they try to sue you instead of you. They asking for so much money. Instead of you going through the whole court process and spending more than you gonna spend, you end up selling out. You know what I'm saying? So it's crazy. It's a lot of stuff that goes with it, but you just got to stay solid.
And then at that time, how do you stay solid? That's what I'm saying.
You got to focus on something, man. We in the game. You trying to be the best at your position. You trying to be the best in the league. You just got to focus on that and pray.
And then the off the field stuff, you're able to compartmentalize.
Sometimes. Yeah. Sometimes.
Not easy, right?
Yeah, it ain't. Because sometimes you want to go crazy, like, man.
At that time, right?
Like, yeah, sometimes you want to go crazy, like.
Hey, look, we have a guy right now. You guys know about Morant, right? And he's been in the news for bad reasons recently, right? With these different stories. And you never know. You can't decipher what's true and what's not of it, right? But in addition to the different headlines, he is now dealing with becoming a global phenomenon, right? You're a guy at Murray State, and then you're a great NBA player to now I've got the Ja ones. Now I'm Powerade commercials. Now I can't go anywhere, do anything. I pulled 700 million directions. I got people around me all the time, and, if they get in trouble, I get in trouble. It's my name in the headline, You dealt with this too, Pac, where you were in these different headlines over the years. Like, what would be your advice? Because you guys were both mega famous, right? To anybody that's kind of going through that for the first time, and now it feels overwhelming.
First of all, I'm a fan of Ja. Like, he is.
We love him.
Amazing. Amazing, my boy.
2 years now, man.
It's 2 things that I would tell him. Because this was my biggest problem right here, Chris. I've always treated myself like a regular person.
Right.
And my wife always, you said, you got to stop carrying yourself like you're just a normal human being. And I hate to say it, like, this shit come with a lot of shit.
Right.
And once you cross over, you got to cross over. So when I'm saying what I'm saying is,
You're not Adam.
you ain't Adam no more. You Mr. Jones. And when the much is given, much is expected. So I can't go back to the hood and just be over chilling. Them days over with.
Right.
I need security with me
Yeah.
everywhere I go. I ain't no homeboy security, you know, because when you do things that way, it don't work out good. And I can be one of the guys that tell you,
You went through it at the beginning.
yes, and he got everything in the world.
And there's
that he can
but you
possibly
also
want.
like this is great conversation to have. You don't want to abandon your buddies. I've been covering these athletes for 20
Yeah.
years, right? Their guys are their guys. I'm not gonna switch up just because I got money now.
That's cool.
I don't want to leave my guys.
Chris, that's cool. But all the guy shit, that shit got a time and a place, brother.
Right.
Like all that shit sound good. We do that shit when we all going to Vegas or boom, boom, boom. But when I'm handling my business, yeah, y'all can come up and watch the game, but I'm playing during football season. I'm going to play football. Now what I do when I get home, at home, is my business. But I might go out Friday, cool. But no, that's over with. Like when you get to that point, like me and Chris, we start having parties at private parties. Shit. Hey CJ, what we want? We want Lil Wayne tonight. Shit, how much we got to pay for Wayne?
Right.
We booked Wayne. Shit. We want to go to strip club, and we felt like it wasn't comfortable going out. Hey, let's have the party at the house. I'm not saying you got to block yourself out from the public, but I'm saying like when you're going through times and it's time after time after time, something got to change. That's all I'm saying.
How about you, Chris? In terms of like the getting along with the fame, you're an interesting one because not unlike situations of guys from small schools, right? Like sometimes you were famous in college, right? Everybody knew Pac-Man Jones in
Right.
college, and so
You remember when I had that touchdown?
Yeah, I remember. We didn't talk about that. I remember.
But I mean, we knew of Pac-Man Jones from the time he was in college, and you, for many people that are big sports fan, burst on the scene and become that guy, right? Like
right.
you're the Madden guy, like I said, you're the number one fantasy pick, whatever.
Right.
And so now you go from regular guy to really good player to, oh my God, I'm the best running back in the world, and
Right.
I'm CJ2K now, right?
Yeah, it's a lot come with it, and how I used to, well, not then, but now how I look back on it, it's like there's a lot of stuff that you can't control. So you can't worry about what you can't control, but at the same time, like how you say, like when I became that guy, it went from me and my couple friends that used to hang out this and that. And now I'm going to the club with 50 people. You know what I'm saying? And 50 people, I can't keep my eyes on 50 people or control 50 people. Know what I'm saying? Like, so things used to go on and stuff like that, but eventually, them 50
And
people.
it's Chris Johnson's name in the headline.
Yeah, so somebody
if anything happens.
Yeah, so
Chris
somebody
Johnson
can do
and his
something over
crew.
here, and I'm over here, and it's not like, oh, so and so is Chris Johnson and them boys. Chris Johnson.
That's the thing, right?
Chris
It's
Johnson and his crew. I'm like,
Chris
I didn't even know what
Johnson's
happened.
crew.
Yeah, Chris Johnson crew. So I just say, like, if I can give some advice, man, just worry about what you can control and don't be hanging out with all these people, man. It's a time and a place. If I want to hang out with my 50 guys, we're going to do it somewhere private. And no phones, all that. We can do what we want to do. Know what I'm saying? But it's going to be me and my small little crew and our security, and we ain't going to have no problems.
Did you ever have to talk to any of your buddies?
Of course. Of course. Yeah, you guys.
Because that's a difficult conversation, right?
It is, but
you're
not-
laughing. How many
No.
buddies did you have to talk to, Pac?
No, it's a difficult. I feel like
Why did you do that?
yeah.
Why?
Yeah, just stupid stuff. But and we young, we never had no money. Now we get before we at the club. Know what I'm saying? We gotta wait in line. We may be in there standing by the bar. Now we get 50 guys in the club. We got our own section. We hanging out. We never done this before, so we all just having a good time. Alcohol involved and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, you're true friends that understand. Like, man, I ain't trying to mess up the bag. they gonna understand when you have that conversation. They gonna understand. If they don't understand, and they got to get from around me.
Tell me about it, Pac-Man.
I agree with everything he said, but like,
Do you have to cut friends off?
oh yeah, like, I don't have like all of my friends. I call them at least once a week. So if you hear this shit and I don't call you once a week, you're an associate. My circle is small, real small. Man, I take care of my kids. I got 7 kids at home, so I don't really have like
7?
that much time
I guess not.
to deal with a lot of friends. But my friends we're solid.
What about when you were young, though?
When I was young,
That's when it comes about, right?
it was hell. Like I tell the story that I took literally my whole project to Miami, Florida, the first week that I got drafted. Spent $250,000.
You did?
Yeah. But like I was young then.
On what?
On everything. That was
property, man.
I know. You want to talk about the money that we spent that night that we didn't even have a drink?
Yeah.
But yeah, so you go through things and you learn things. You know, I was 20 years old, and you know they always say, "Oh man, when I leave the hood, I'm never gonna leave the hood." Shh. That was the one time that I've really took everybody out from the hood, and
And it was $250,000.
yeah, we was down there for a good week and a half. But we did it right now. You know, if you're gonna do it, you might as well do it. You know,
At least it was.
Yeah.
What I always tell Rose,
But-
or even when we go to Vegas, I woke up one morning and there was a lot less money than what I had the night before, and he was like, "You spent that," and I said, "At least it was fun.
Right. But
At least we have fun."
I can say this: with the friends that I started when I first got drafted, I would say I had, let's say, 25 friends out of that I didn't know from football. You get what I'm saying?
Your
So,
boys.
these was guys that I grew up with.
Yeah.
I'm probably close with 3 of them.
Wow.
10 of them probably dead. 5 of them probably doing time. The other 6 of them, they went shit from the get-go. So, but you live and learn, and God weed things out to make you stronger. But I wouldn't do my testimony. I wouldn't do it no way, man. No other way. Because who I am today, I think that God put me through all those trials and tribulations to make me where I'm at now. Because I'm bend, don't break. Like, I'm really the true definition of
And
what-
being able to come here and tell the
Yeah,
stories to
and-
kids and to say, like, I am you,
Yeah.
right?
And I've
here's-
made a lot of mistakes.
Right.
I'm not getting up here saying that I ain't do nothing wrong. Shit, me. You know what I mean? I had my fun. I did my due diligence, but my heart has always been pure. Always been pure. So like, I'm one of those. I'm a testimony, man. Like, God didn't bring me this far not to share this. Like, I be selfish as a motherfucker to share this.
Chris, in terms of you now and looking back on the career and everything that you went through, right? Obviously, you're going to get beat up being a running back, right? You're going to get beat up being a running back. But then when it ends, for both of you, on the football field, how do you handle that? And moving on to the next stage of life. And was that a massively difficult transition in terms of needing an outlet, needing people to talk to, needing something for the competitive fire, all the things that people talk about?
Right. I think it's tough. It's definitely tough. And I think now it's getting a little better because the NFL, they got different programs that you can get into so when you do retire, you can already have something going on, a second career that you can roll into. And honestly, I think that's one of the big things with mental health with a lot of retired athletes, because when you retire, you don't know what you're going to do, because a lot of us guys that was at the top of our game, some of the best in the world, we had nothing else to do but to focus on football. If you want to be the best at what you're doing, I'm putting 110% into football. I'm not worrying about, okay, when I retire, what I'm going to do or what's going to be my second job. I'm just worrying about football. So then when you retire or when you get let go or whatever, now it's like you sitting at home, now it's like, damn, what I'm doing. I can't call my homeboy because he in camp or he in practice or this and that. So you just at home. But, you know, I transitioned like, you know, I ain't gonna say well, but I got it eventually. And then when you got kids at the house, you got a family, you know, that make it better because you get to spend time with them. I got twin boys that play football, so I get to help them out, help train them, watch them play football and stuff like that. So,
which was harder for you guys? Was it the end of the career where you're not the best running back or you're not the best corner? And, you know, I was this and now I'm not that guy anymore. Is that harder or is the walking away completely harder?
Oh, I was mentally done.
You were done.
Yeah, I was like, fuck this. I'm done playing football. Like, I had a good run. It was great.
You
but
knew it would.
I would come home and I would tell my wife, I'm like, yo, why am I doing this?
right.
I'm like, I'm sitting here fucking babysitting some kids. She's like, huh? She's like, is it that bad at work? And that's when I knew. I was like, yeah, I had a good run.
I'm done.
I'm done.
Yeah.
And for the other question you had,
What about for you, Chris? What's the moment where you're like, all right, I'm not doing this anymore?
No, well, going into my last year, I didn't tell anybody, but I knew that was going to be my last year. But I don't think it's really – I don't really think you can say, oh, I'm not the best running back on the team because it's politics. Know what I'm saying? So I can know that I deserve to be the starter, but they want to go younger. Mm-hmm. So with me, it was I knew I wasn't willing to be – because I know the type of work I have to put in to be ready for a season, to take on the whole season. Me, myself, I wasn't willing to put in that work to sit on the bench.
Gotcha.
Know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So going through that situation, I knew that was going to be my situation going into year 10. So after that, I'm like, I know this is my last year. I'm not finna say nothing to nobody, but I knew when I was walking away.
Really?
Yeah.
You weren't even going to try to, like, you weren't going to say, oh, maybe I'll just go elsewhere.
Nah.
No.
Especially at the running back position, after when you turn 28, at the running back, they already looking. The average life expectancy for a running back in the league is 2.5 years. I played 10, so I already knew. At that point, I'm about to be 32 years old. I already know. Ain't nobody bringing a 32-year-old running back in to be the starter. It's just what it is.
What, are you gonna call Zeke?
I'm just saying.
I'm a Cowboy fan.
Zeke 28, though. But that's what I'm saying. Zeke 28.
Wow.
So he still may get a chance somewhere else.
He's also had
but
700,000 carries.
Zeke
That was
got
tough.
Jerry.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
Zeke got Jerry.
You're right.
I think the best thing
he'll be playing for the Cowboys, getting 20 carries a year or two.
I think the best,
Sit it down.
I think the best thing that happened to Zeke though was Tony Pollard getting hurt at the end of the year. I think if he wouldn't have got hurt, Zeke probably would have been out of there. But
Not in Jerry world.
Who did
he probably would have wanted to go somewhere else.
He don't want to go nowhere else.
Who did Tony Pollard get hurt against?
I don't remember.
Shut up, man.
Niners.
Oh, the Niners. What is it, ACL?
I can't take this.
Who's our quarterback?
He broke
this
his
year?
leg.
Brock Purdy.
Broke his leg.
Brock Purdy.
It's gonna be Purdy, as long as he's healthy enough for camp. They said he's supposed to have the
All
surgery.
that they did for the other kid, you think they gonna go with Purdy?
Yeah.
All those first
I think
rounders.
All those first rounds.
I know. We were texting about it this morning. I bet he ends up at the Titans, Lance, eventually, because their new GM came
Their
from
new
San
GM.
Francisco.
He's the
guy who
old
was-
49er guy.
Oh, yeah.
I think they'll trade him.
No
Eventually.
way they trade him.
If
Out of
Purdy,
all the quarterback shit y'all just went through, you would trade him? Y'all better keep 3 quarterbacks.
I'm not.
Y'all better keep Jimmy.
There ain't no
Y'all
doubt
better
about
keep
that.
Jimmy.
I know.
Why would y'all get rid of Jimmy?
I love Jimmy.
Let me get
I
out
love
of here.
Jimmy.
I'm going to let Pack and Chris take care of this dude.
I love Jimmy. I love Jimmy.
Well,
Truth is, though, you got Christian McCaffrey and Debo Samuel and George Kittle, man. It probably doesn't matter sometimes who your quarterback is.
No matter what you got, you need a quarterback.
man, y'all better thank God for Shanahan.
Oh, I love him.
Oh, that's good. But without him,
Oh, I know.
the way he dialed that thing up, man, with
Yeah,
the
he's
motions, the quick
Yeah.
motions, the cut splits,
I listen to Richard Sherman's podcast sometimes,
Yeah.
and he talks about
He's
all the
good.
stuff that
He's really
Shanahan
good.
does, and it's
You guys still watch NFL every single week?
every day.
Yeah.
You love it.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, I'm saying we talk about it. You know, we get paid to talk.
Understood. You got that huge 2K chain on. I got to tell you, ain't gonna be that many dudes running 2K anymore, are they? They don't run nobody gets 25, 30 carries anymore. Nobody.
Hey, Chris. They also forget about you had 500 yards receiving that year too.
Sheep.
Yeah.
Pim,
Maybe,
pim,
a little,
pim.
maybe a little chain that says 500 on in addition to, right? In addition to. So tonight at 6 o'clock?
6 o'clock. Hope
That's when
church.
it starts.
Yep.
All right. And I think it's $10, right?
$10.
All right. And they got food trucks out there, and you guys got all kinds of events that are
trucks,
going
live
on.
performances. Again, I got to perform here at the Grizzlies Lakers game, and
Yep.
I'm performing live with a couple buddies. I got a friend of mine coming up from the A, from the West End. His name West End Shouted, so we're gonna perform tonight. We have Cordova's high school band is gonna help us out, so we got a whole show for everybody, man. Y'all come out and have a good time.
It's going to be at
6
Hope Presbyterian tonight. Here it is. Bend Don't Break, the Athlete Summit. Adam Pac-Man Jones and Chris Johnson. Also, Lindell White. You're gonna be
Showcase.
Huh?
Showcase
Yeah,
White.
he's going to be in town, huh?
Right.
Along with CL Shepard, who is going to be a keynote speaker tonight. But it's open to the public. Anybody can go. And it's going to be at Hope Church on Walnut Grove tonight. Look at that. They got you in the Bengals, huh?
Yeah.
Is that what you...
Yeah.
That's what he rep.
You rep Bengals?
Yeah.
Oh, just because they got Burrow now.
No,
So hold on.
he always
Do
rep Bengals.
what'd you say?
I was about to say he always rep Bengals.
All right. Bengals first. Cowboys second. Tennessee third.
Why are we going in that order?
It's because what Mr. Brown.
I watch.
matter.
I watch.
Nah,
it.
no, I'm just saying.
I saw
played
it.
two, yeah.
I saw a clip from your podcast where you were like defending Jerry Jones.
Yeah.
This
always.
one, all the controversy, the old photo I think came out, whatever.
Will
and you were like,
always defend Jerry Jones. And you better not say nothing bad around me about Jerry. I'm going to war about Jerry. I love Jerry.
why do you love him so much?
Because it's bigger than football. Y'all just see what happens on the TV screen. Y'all don't see the 2 a.m. calls that I have with Jerry. Y'all don't see the meetings that I have about different business ideas. That's my man.
You think he cares about
I know he cares.
players?
And it's
That
not
was that's the interesting thing to me was it did not feel like owner-player relationship to you. It felt like this is a guy that truly cares about me and my well-being.
Oh, I know 199.99900 whatever I'm trying to say that he cares about me. And I don't have to get it. I don't have to say everything that he does for me, but you know, I still have a house in Dallas, 40 acres, a mule, some Watusi cows. So shit, somebody care about me in Dallas, you know. But he's been there more than that, man. I'm just saying for phone calls. Hey Adam, how you doing?
It is kind of crazy, the idea of you guys talking on the phone with each other.
Yeah, but it sounds weird to you guys, but like it's so normal to me.
It is?
Yeah, like, yeah.
Do you think it's weird, Chris? That doesn't feel weird to you
He
at all?
already know. Me and CJ talk every day, so he know my whole Rolodex. You know what I mean? It's just
You and Jerry Jones being buddies is great.
yeah. You should see us fishing sometime.
I really should.
See, but that's what a lot of people don't understand. Why shouldn't they be? You know what I'm saying?
I don't think it's very common
Why shouldn't
amongst
they be?
NFL players to be friends
Like,
with
they
you know what I
should
mean?
be, like-
Well, I'm friends with
to
Mr.
keep
Brown.
up. You are?
Yeah.
Did he rep Bengals before they got Joe Burrow, or has
Yeah.
this been a
Yeah.
when they went? Was he repping him? Was he repping Andy Dalton or no?
Oh,
Was
I
he
was playing with Andy,
Was he repping Andy Dalton?
but
or
I
no?
will say this: since you put Joe Burrow on the list, how can you not rep Cincinnati?
Joe Burrow is so awesome.
Oh my God,
He's so cool.
He's
so cool.
He's
super cool. Like nothing rattled him. Like you know, he's a superstar. He's like he got confidence but not arrogant. Like, you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, only way you think he's arrogant if you just a shitty person that don't have
Yeah.
no confidence within yourself. But like, he's an unbelievable person. And the atmosphere, he's always cool. Like, you be like, damn, Joe, you always that cool? Yeah, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's like that. So.
You know, they said, I saw this clip the other day, and there was like this something about his like 8th grade basketball coach. I was reading this.
Oh yeah,
thing.
I
You
seen
see that?
Yes.
And it was like he had like 9 points to
Yeah.
win the game
Yeah.
at the end of the game, and they had like been doing these tests on him and whatever.
And
And,
how
they said it's like
smart,
his,
I seen
they
that.
said
yeah.
his balance, like amongst his like heart rate and stuff, was like what they look for in like it was like surgeons,
Yeah.
serial killers, and something else. But the idea was he is baseline.
Yeah, baseline.
He is unaffected.
No
right?
up, no down.
Yes. And it is a very rare trait, but he is unaffected by the moment in. And this was they went and talked to his parents, and they're like, okay, this is like freaky. But this kid, nothing happens dependent upon the fact that they were down by like 8 points or nothing. He's that guy.
Yeah.
No matter what. They should put one of those whoop straps on him.
Like even
You know what I
Tom
mean? So we
Brady
can
like
see.
freaks out on his offensive line
Sure.
from time to time.
Yeah,
That
Tom Brady
Burrow-
slam iPads. Burrow don't slam iPads.
That's like the Burrow thing. That's like some Joe Montana stuff. Like Montana was that way. They do just never.
You
goes
ever
too
get
high,
into
too
it with a
low.
quarterback? You ever had a
My quarterbacks?
Yeah.
Talking about Tink. Really, I stay out of the way of the quarterbacks because I got a respect for the levels. of
What about
the game.
you, Chris? No. Never.
You never said, "Hand me the damn ball."
Or you never missed a block and they got slaughtered?
Did they get slaughtered?
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's it. Not that I know of. Amazing. Tonight, Hope Presbyterian Church. It's Bend Don't Break, and you can get the tickets. It's eventbrite.com. And you can find out all the information on Hope's website, too, hopechurchmemphis.com. Thanks for coming in, guys.
Man, thanks for having us, Chris.
Hey,
Super
Chris.
cool.
I just want to give a quick shout out to my mentor, man. He's been behind me just like Pat has had Jerry. Kemmons Wilson has been a big push behind me. He's been my mentor through his program, Nexus, and he was the first to spark off the funding for this event. So, Kim, if you hear this, man, I appreciate you. I love you. Thanks for having my back on this, and not just my back, but advocating for mental health out here. So we appreciate you.
It's going to be a great event, and certainly will bring a lot of awareness to something that needs awareness brought to. We will be back after this. Chris Vernon Show.